Okay, I'm ready. That's all the time you're getting. Does anyone want to share? Does anyone feel passionate about their favourite bird? Georgia is like jumping up and down. Georgia, go on then. Why a robin? Because they're cute. They're cool and they're smart. Great. And small. I'm so sorry. And Alexander loves a woodpecker. Rachel? Penguin. Any advances, Johnny? Flamingo. Gosh, we've got a real variety. You guys are just reading back the slides from earlier. Okay, great. I think we'll stop there because I would love to introduce a special guest to all. This guest, I don't even think they know they are the special guest. Ugo, can you come up for me? Can we give him a round of applause? So, Ugo is not here because he's an amazing trumpeter, but I would love you to share with everybody what your name means. Actually, first of all, can you share your full name?
Okay. My name is Ugochukwu.
Ugochukwu.
Ugochukwu Nweche.
Great. And what does it mean?
Ugochukwu. The Ugo means dove, while the Chukwu means God. So, dove of God. Yeah.
Which makes him our special guest today. Yeah, let's give him a round of applause. You can take your seat. Thank you. What better way to introduce our theme, which is the dove, the symbol of the dove, the symbol of the Holy Spirit. And so we're going to be looking a little bit now at how that symbol has traveled through the Old Testament. So I want you to imagine that this is a timeline here. Over here we've got right at the beginning, Genesis, right at the beginning of time. And over here is like us in the present. Okay, so this is a timeline. I would like a volunteer. And I've already prepped him because he really wanted to. Alexander, it's your time. It's your time. There he is. Had his arms folded. Come on up, Alexander. So what's going to happen is there's going to be some Bible verses, hopefully on the screen. The first one's in Genesis. We're going to read this passage, Alexander, and I need you to listen really carefully. And then you need to pick out of these random things down here which one best suits the passage. Is that right? We can help you too, so it'll be okay. So the first passage is in Genesis, and it says, in the beginning, so right at the start, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty, darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. Okay, so what symbol would you like to pick? You want to pick that, but the thing you wanted at the beginning. You can pick anything you want. Okay, great. Why have you picked that, Alexander? Any ideas? Because God created trees and stuff at the beginning? Great. Okay, can you stand here then by the speaker? So that's the first one. Okay, great. So you represent the beginning of time. God created everything, including leaves and trees. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters just before everything was created. Okay, great. Our next verse. Can I have another volunteer? No one. Come, I don't feel awkward. I'll stand here as long as it takes. Okay, Sophie. Great. A family affair. Come on up. Yeah, give her a round of applause. Absolutely. You deserve that. Okay. So our next passage is in Genesis 8, and it says, he, being Noah, maybe some of us have heard the story of Noah's Ark. This is right in the middle of that story. So Noah waited 7 more days, and again he sent out a dove from the ark. When the dove returned to him in the evening, there in its beak was a freshly plucked olive leaf. Then Noah knew that the water had receded from the earth. Now there are many options of things you could pick. Leaves, feathers, water, earth.
I might take what my child wanted earlier.
Yeah, great. You take that.
I'll take that one.
Okay, great. Thank you. So you stand next to Alexander. Brilliant. Okay, one more to go. So this is a verse in Mark, it should be. And I need another volunteer. Who am I looking at? Noah. Great. Oh, you should have come up before, Noah. Anyway, come on up. Missed opportunity. Come on up. Okay. I will read the passage for you, and you need to be thinking, what is the best symbol that's left? Okay. So at that time, Jesus came from Nazareth in Galilee and was baptized by John in the river Jordan. Just as Jesus was coming up out of the water, which is going to happen to you soon, isn't it? Noah's getting baptized in a couple of weeks, so Yeah. Just as Jesus was coming up out of the water, he saw heaven being torn open and the Spirit descending on him like a dove. And a voice came from heaven and said, "You are my Son, whom I love. With you I am well pleased." What symbol do you want to pick? You've got a water jug, we've got some more leaves, or a feather. Going to go feather. Great. Okay, do you want to stand over here? So, in our timeline, we have right at the... Oh, we've switched, have we? Okay, I mean, they all are interchangeable, which is kind of the point too. Okay, so at the beginning of time, God created everything, including trees, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the water just before this happened. And then the world went to pot, just to put it bluntly. The world went wrong. People just were like unbelievable, like next level evil. God was like, I'm starting again. This is not good. So he sent a flood, but made sure there were people left to survive, to carry on and to like renew things and make it good again. And as he did that, just before this all happened, a dove was sent out and it came back with an olive branch, which told the people it's time. Things are going to be renewed. So we've kind of got creation, then like creation happening again, like a new creation here. And then fast forward thousands of years, Jesus is baptized and a dove, again, is hovering over water. And yeah, it's not a dove's feather probably, but it's a feather. That's actually an emu? An ostrich. It's an ostrich feather. It's an ostrich feather. You are. I know. You didn't think you'd be doing that today at church, did you? There you go. And again, we see this Spirit hovering over waters, and it's like Jesus is about to start yet another creation, heralding in his new kingdom. So there's kind of three forms of creation and lots more going on. Turn to the people around you just for a moment and answer this question. What do these three things have in common? Go. Discuss. You guys just have to hang with me here for a moment. Testing, great. Is that enough time? Probably not, but I'm just not being very kind. Okay, I'd love to hear some thoughts. What do they have in common, these three events? Simon, go. Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit was present at all of them, absolutely. Do you have something to say? No. Hovering. Yeah, there's lots of hovering involved. Oh, yes, at the back. Sorry? New beginnings. Yeah, anything else? Water. Sorry? Chapters in the Bible. Yeah. Different chapters. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Different chapters. Anything else? Okay, great. I think that's great. So we've got waters, and actually they all were kind of described as being a bit chaotic waters. We've got birds, we've got creation and new beginnings. All of these are really important, and we're going to look at those as to why they're important now. But why don't we give these three a round of applause? Well done. You can take your seats. You can just leave the stuff here. Well done. You can play with it again at the end, Alexander. Don't fret. You can sit with it now. Do you want to take it now? Take it. Go for it. Okay. So we're going to look today at three really profound P's. Okay, not like peas that you eat, peas as in the letter P. Simply pigeons, places, and power. Pigeons, places, and power. 3 P's, which you can see on the screen there. 3 P's. Okay, so can I start though by sharing a really embarrassing story that like loosely involves pigeons? Yeah, I thought I'd treat you. This cringed me out even rethinking about it. So, picture the scene. I'm like fresh at uni. I've moved like from near Brighton all the way up to Leeds, like the furthest north like I've ever been. And I'm making some new friends. It's Freshers Week. And so we all were kind of like, sussing each other out and things. And we were going out that evening. We're going to a party. We're going to do some dancing. And we had to obviously book a taxi to get into town. And this is the days pre-Uber, can you believe it? And so what we'd have to do is call up a taxi company, and then when the taxi was dispatched, they would send you a text message which came through to my non-smartphone and would then say like the colour of the car and the make of the car, which actually is very like Uber, to be fair. But anyway, and so I was there at this taxi rank with like 30 other students who I'm trying to make friends with, and I'm in charge of the text message. My phone goes off, and so I look at it and I just shout out in front of everyone, "We're waiting for a white Pidgeot." And everyone just like looked at me, and then this guy that I didn't know from across the crowd just went, "Isn't that a Pokemon?" And I was like, the worst thing was I full on thought that is how you pronounce Peugeot. So I wasn't even sure why people were laughing, and I was like, "Is it a Pokemon? Oh, but it's also the make of car." And they were like, "Peugeot." And honestly, my heart sunk, and everyone just like burst out laughing. And the worst thing is, guys, my dad is a mechanical engineer. He specializes in cars. Yeah, it's not like his proudest moment, no idea. But for those of you who are wondering why that's related to a pigeon, Pidgeots look slightly like pigeons, if you know your Pokemon. So there you go. Anyway, doves, in other news, doves are quite striking, aren't they? They're striking because they're such a bright, brilliant white. But my bird knowledge may have appeared to be a bit limited, but here's a fun fact to you. Doves are actually just pigeons. Did people know that? Hands up if that was news to you today. Yeah, great. I love educating. Okay, great. Doves scientifically are in the pigeon family, and their only scientific difference is that they're white. Apart from that, they are like literally the same bird, which is crazy. So, who's ever seen a pigeon? Hands up if you've seen a pigeon before. Seriously? You've all seen a pigeon? What? But you've seen a pigeon? Oh my goodness me. Of course you have. Because they're everywhere, aren't they? Pigeons are literally everywhere. But that's the point, right? Pigeons are so normal and ordinary. Doves are more striking. You know, they're not rare. Doves are really rare, but pigeons are really normal. Now, such is the Holy Spirit. Okay, bear with me. The Holy Spirit, our experience of the Holy Spirit is really striking at times. You know, it's like a dove, like a flash of white in the sky. Like amazing stuff happens, like miracles and amazing, amazing stuff. And like Linda said a few weeks ago, Linda used the analogy of like a shot of adrenaline. You know, like Holy Spirit sometimes is like a shot of adrenaline, exciting, big, major. But much more frequently, the Holy Spirit functions in us like oxygen. Like the oxygen we breathe, we sometimes don't notice, but is vital in keeping us alive. Now, I think sometimes we focus maybe too much on the adrenaline moments, the dove moments, if you like. You know, a powerful worship song, something supernatural happening, a miracle, a prophetic word. But we can forget that the Spirit wants to work in our lives in a deep and steady and sustainable way that becomes so familiar to us that it's like the oxygen we breathe, or like a pigeon we see in the street and don't bat an eyelid. You know, doves are striking white so that they're noticed like adrenaline. Pigeons are grey and normal and everyday like oxygen. I know I'm mixing two metaphors. I'm sure you can make the connections. But the point is this, that God is at work in the extraordinary moments and in the totally ordinary moments. He's just as present. So that's pigeons, our first P. You ready for our second one? Places. So where have you seen a pigeon before? Or where did you last see a pigeon? Think back to your last sighting. Hands up when you remember. Georgia remembers. Outside Asda. Pigeon spotted outside Asda. Great. Rachel? In town? Noah? Halifax town. They're in Halifax too. Gosh, they get around. Anyone else? Simon? Oh. Right, where were you then? You should have been in that box. Pigeon twitcher. Love it. Pigeon facts. Anyone else? Last time you saw a pigeon? Yes, Mary? Bradford Interchange. Pigeon spotted at Bradford Interchange. Great. A question you maybe didn't think you'd be answering today at church, right? But in the Bible overview we did with these three here, where were the doves? Anyone? Outside? Yeah, they were outside. Sorry? In the sky? Over the water. Thank you. Over the water. They were hovering over waters. Waters in the very beginning, waters in Noah's Ark, the water of Jesus' baptism. A bird was flying over all of them. And as we heard last week, we looked at water being a symbol of the Holy Spirit. Water in the Old Testament represents like chaos and disorder. So the people of God, before like scuba divers knew what was under the water, you can imagine it was a really terrifying thing. People had no idea. It symbolized a place of like chaos, of monsters, of uncertainty and unknowns. And God's Spirit was hovering right over those waters. Like imagine a little dove, a fragile little dove over like a chaotic and stormy sea. Like, it kind of sounds ridiculous that God would choose to be represented as a little dove in that situation. But we see that the Spirit in these three situations worked to bring new life out of that chaos, bringing order, restoration, protection, speaking truth and promise. And the same is true for us today. God's Spirit is very, very present in times of chaos and disorder and uncertainty. Chaos in our world, chaos in us, chaos around us. And so often we don't recognize this until the time has passed. So whoever has struggled with their mental health or anxiety or anything like that? I'm sure there's loads of us. Yeah, lots of nods. Yeah, loads of us will have. I had a time in my 20s, so a while ago, where I just had I went through an awful bout of anxiety. I had a mental breakdown, and that led to 4 or 5 years of just chronic anxiety. And it was absolutely awful. Like, it was the worst time of my life. It was so hard. I was honestly a shell of who I am today. And I'll be completely honest with you, there were times where I felt God speak to me. There were times where I was aware that there may be like a dove-like spirit hovering over me, protecting me, speaking to me. But honestly, like most of the time, I felt totally abandoned by God. I couldn't hear God speak. I couldn't feel anything. There was no kind of connection. I just felt completely and utterly lost most of the time. But now, as I've steadily kind of moved through that, found healing, now when I look back at that time, I can so see God at work. Like, I can totally see God at work. I can see God at work in the friendships that I made in that time that became so significant, in the words of encouragement that people had for me, the kind words, the patience, the love that they showed me. I can see God at work in the great counselor that I had, who was absolutely brilliant and just like on the money in terms of helping me. I could see God at work in the way that I was able to slow down and rest and reflect and learn about myself and grow so much in that period of time. God was so presently hovering over my chaotic waters, but I didn't really notice it at the time. I was so desperate, like shot of adrenaline or that white dove kind of moment, like a big moment of breakthrough. But actually, I got pigeons. Like, I got really ordinary, steady, like Jesus with me in a way that just felt really normal and maybe unremarkable. But when I look back, I can see how significant those pigeons were, because I think that I'm in the place I am now because God chose to walk with me through it all really slowly and steadily. And so as a result, I just began to change, and I've remained changed because of that. And so what I'm saying is that no matter what you're going through now, if your life feels chaotic and out of control and uncertain and scary, like God is at work in your life. It might just be that it takes some time to pass and you to reflect back to see where he is at work. Are you still with me? Okay, the last P. The last P is power. Now, there's this great bit in the Bible where Jesus says that when we are filled with this dove-like spirit, we will do even greater things than he did. We will be filled with power from on high. Now, I want you all to take a moment and think of the most powerful person you can think of. It might be the most powerful person in the whole world. I don't want you to name names, so just have a person in mind. Nod at me when you've got one. Okay, here we go. Great. And now I'd like you to shout out some words that you would use to describe that the way that person uses power. And we're going to write them down. I'm going into teacher mode. Okay. Most powerful person, Jesus, not including Jesus, right? Most powerful person, not including Jesus in the world. How do they use power? Go. Selfishly. A superhero. Control. Brutishly. Great word. I don't know if it's a word, but it's going down. Brutishly. Physically. So what does that mean? Like aggressively? Force? Both. Okay, so physically. I'm going to put like forceful down as well. Okay, couple more. Sorry? Patience. Expand on that. So kind of letting people get on with it? Yeah? Okay, so I'm alright not intervening. Is that what you mean? Yeah. Don't be quiet, Simon. I love it. No wrong answers. Not intervening. Any more? Coercion. Coercion. I have no idea how to spell that. Not like that. Anyway, okay. Coercion, great. Okay, next exercise, class of Fountains Church, Bradford. I would now like you to think of a dove. And I would like you to throw out some words that describe the demeanor of a dove. So I'm not looking for like wings, beak, white, fluffy. I'm looking at like what words you associate with a dove. Go. Whoa. Right. I heard gentle. Keep going. Peaceful. Regal. Love that. Spirituality, pure. Lovely. Wings. Great. Yeah, any more? Like a pigeon. Anything else? Pure. We got pure. Oh, wow, you got way more for this. I'm overwhelmed. Confidence. Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much. They're quite different, aren't they? On one side, we've got like peaceful, gentle, lovely, pure. And then on this side, we've got control, selfish, brutish, forceful, coercive. Quite different. Interesting. I'd like to tell you a story. Once upon a time, Jesus was traveling to Jerusalem with his disciples, and two of them, brothers called James and John, they kind of shimmied up to Jesus, and they said to him, Jesus, we want you to do for us whatever we ask. Which is quite bold, isn't it? Quite a bold move to approach Jesus like that. Jesus then goes, okay, go on then. They say, when you enter your glory, we want to sit at your right and your left. In other words, when you become the king of the universe, we want to be your two right, like most important men. You know, make us number one and number two and number three next to you. Now, when the other 10 disciples heard this, they got annoyed. And they all started squabbling on the road. And so Jesus then gathered them together. Come on, guys, like gather round. I've got something to say to you. And this is what he said. In this world, you will see leaders, powerful people, lording their power over others. You'll see them exercising authority in a horrible way over others. But not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must become a servant of all. For even I did not come to be served, but to serve and give my life for many. Now, there are 5 words in this story that I think unlock the secret to how we should be approaching power as Christians. Are you ready for them? No pens poised. This is profound. But not so with you. But not so with you. The world's power looks like this. And it doesn't lead to good things. It's driven by greed, exploitation, oppression, and control. But not so with you. The Spirit's power looks more like a dove. Gentle, peaceful, lovely, pure, confident, spiritual. Whoever wants to become great must become the servant of all. And for Jesus, we know that this looked like overthrowing the Roman Empire and taking over the world, actually giving himself over to the evil of this world in order to destroy its power. It looks like failure, weakness, and defeat. And yet, he was faithful to God until the end and faithful to us until the end. Letting himself be overcome in order to overcome evil in this world. Now, is there an act more defiant and brave and courageous? It's incredible. And this wasn't passivity and weakness. It was strength and courage that made no sense to anybody who was looking on. But this is the topsy-turvy kingdom. Jesus' way is so different. And likewise, think about it for a moment. The Holy Spirit didn't choose to reveal itself as a mighty gorilla or like a fierce lion or a terrifying shark or like a swooping bird of prey even, but a gentle, fragile, beautiful dove. And this passage today where Jesus says, "You will do even greater things than me when you are filled with power from on high." Well, this passage is so insane because it's true. God empowers us with the Holy Spirit, and that is not power that looks like this. It's power that looks like this. It's power for the sake of others. It's power to bring hope in the darkest of places, to bring truth and to bring kindness to this world that so desperately needs it. And so, to sum up, my Twitcher's guide to doves. Are you ready? Firstly, they're ordinary like pigeons, yet extraordinary. They, secondly, are found hovering in the most unlikely places of chaos and despair. And thirdly, they're powerful, but not in the way that the world abuses power, a new way for a new kingdom, which we're invited to participate in. And so we are going to, for a moment, sing another song, and then we've got some options of activities we can do. I know some of the kids have found the craft table. More of that to come. But over to Johnny and the band.